Shalom, shalom. Giving honor and praise to the Creator, Maker of heaven and earth. My name is Israel. This is not going to be a long speech or presentation, but just want to talk about a Hebrew Israelites or Israelite brothers' take on what's going on in the society today. As we know, there's a thing that they're referring to as the coronavirus or COVID-19. And there are some who are saying it's actual, some saying it's mythical, some saying it's a lie, some saying it's a pandemic. And what we want to go over is a short presentation in this particular aspect. In the scriptures, if you will, in Isaiah chapter 54, verse 19. That's Isaiah 54, verse 16, pardon me. We are in Isaiah 54, verse 16. Says this, Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. And I have created the waster to destroy. So right there, that tells you, brothers and sisters, in a particular aspect, that the Most High is the one who, being the creator, has things under his own jurisdiction and in his own time. All right? Another aspect we want to go to, if we will. It says in Proverbs chapter 16, verse 4, it says, The Most High hath made all things for himself, yea, even the wicked for the day of evil. So we want to point this out, that the situation going on now, brothers and sisters, is not far-fetched from what was expected to already happen, according to the way the Most High had things set up. Now, in light of that, there are certain things that we, as the Israelites, were told to already do. And let's go into that, if we will. Let's go into Zephaniah in the scriptures. Zephaniah, all right? Chapter 2, verse 1, which says, Gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired. It's telling you right there that you're supposed to gather yourselves together, speaking to the nation that's not desired. So let's understand what people in the scriptures is talking about when it says nation not desired. In Isaiah chapter 49, verse 7, all right, it reads as follows. Isaiah 49th chapter, verse 7. Thus saith Yah, the Redeemer of Israel and his Holy One, to him whom men despiseth, to him whom the nation abhorreth, to a servant of rulers, kings shall see and arise, princes also shall worship, because of Yah, that is faithful, and the Holy One of Israel, and he shall choose thee. So, brothers and sisters, when we get into that, it talks about the house of Israel in that regard, being the one that is despised, being the one that is not desired. So it's not too hard to figure out when it says, gather yourselves together, gather together, O nation not desired. Before the decree break forth, before the day pass as a shaft, before the fierce anger of the Most High come upon you, before the day of Yah's anger come upon you. So when we look at this particular aspect, it says, before the decree break forth. Now, the decree or the judgment was already set in the days and times that we're talking about. If we go, brothers and sisters, into the book of Daniel, chapter 7, all right? The book of Daniel, chapter 7, and we're going to start in verse 18. No, let's start in Daniel 7, verse 17. These great beasts which are four kings which shall arise out of the earth. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devoured, break in pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before which 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints, and prevailed against them, until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High. And the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. Thus, he said, the fourth beast shall be a fourth kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse from all the kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall arise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change the times and laws. And they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion to consume and to destroy it unto the end. So, brothers and sisters, when we read in the book of Daniel here that the judgment shall sit, it's already been decreed. As we already read in the book of Zephaniah chapter 2, before the decree breaks forth, the decree is already set. The judgment is already set. Before this judgment comes down, that is to say that it shall be taken and consumed and burned in fire. It tells you in Zephaniah that the Israelites were supposed to gather themselves together. So now, if you have Israelites deliberately, purposely, disrespectfully not gathering together, you got to ask yourself, who is your Adon and Moshiach? Who is your creator? Who is your Elohim? Who is your Shofet? Who is your Elohim in your eyes? Because once it comes down to that, if a man can sit there and tell you to not be among the house of Israel, and you know yourself as Israel, and the Most High King done already said for Israel to gather together, you done created a new God. You done made another man, quote, your Lord and Savior. You understand? So we want to point this out. Now, for those who might not understand, and I say this in no disrespect, we want to go to Amos chapter 3, all right? Because this is somewhere some Israelites go when they say and feel they don't want to join one to another, all right? Amos chapter 3, and it reads as follows, all right? Hear ye this word that Yah spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore will I punish you for all your iniquities. Can 2 walk together except they be agreed? Now that's in Amos chapter 3, verse 3, when it says, can 2 walk together unless they be agreed? So if Israelites have been using this for some time as a way to say, well, if I disagree with you, we can't walk together. But that's wicked understanding, because when you go in the scriptures, it talks about gather yourselves together before the decree breaks forth, before the judgment breaks forth. We already read of the judgment about this beast in the book of Daniel chapter 7. So if we read in Zephaniah, gather yourselves together, that means you're going to have to gather together in order to understand and come to an agreement. You can't stay separate from your brothers, sisters, elders, and so forth and so on, and then sit there and say, well, 2 can't walk together unless they agree. You missed the boat. You missed the point of what was being pointed out in the scriptures. Gather yourselves together. Gather yourselves together. So if it's telling you to gather yourselves together, obviously we're going to have to gather together and then come to an agreement in order for us to walk together. That is the understanding from Zephaniah 2 and in Amos chapter 3. But brothers and sisters, we want to close out on this here. We want to go to Leviticus chapter 25, verse 55 for edification purposes. All right. And it says the following here. Leviticus 25:55. For unto me the children of Israel are servants. The children of Israel belong to the Most High. The children of Israel belong unto the Most High. It is not your people, your congregation. It just says right here, for unto me, the children of Israel are servants. They are my servants whom I have brought forth out of the land of Egypt. I am Yah Eloheka. So brothers and sisters, we cannot sit there and have the aspect of disunity and think we're going to get somewhere. For those talking about Passover around this era and so forth, the book of Exodus distinctly tells you if your household is too small for a lamb, then you are supposed to join on with your neighbor next to you. And that's talking about simply eating lamb together. You understand? The Most High wants his people to come together. So either we're going to get on board and obey the Most High and gather together, or we're going to be like it says in Isaiah chapter 13, talking about we need to be separate, but yet you're joining on to the nations in the news and the media, following their advice. These are the same people, black people, who sat there and did the Tuskegee experiment. These are the same people who in slavery coined a term called droptomania in the 1850s that said that is a condition of a sickness that has black people who are slaves who wanted to run away to be free. That's what their doctors already stated. We're talking about a people, brothers and sisters, that will tell you to take their medicine, knowing good and well that there are herbs already in the earth that cure certain things. They rather give you treatments than cures. And so when you find, sadly, Israelites that want to sit there and join on to them thinking, oh, we need to be separate and not come together on the strength of that means that this book we've been reading every Shabbat and the congregations and the camps and so forth, we really just believed it was only for a Saturday service. See, what happens sadly is in many cases, Israelites have boxed the Most High in their own mind as if he only dwells on the Sabbath. So when we see something going on in this society now, the judgment and the decree that's breaking forth on the nations, and Israel has already been told by our prophets to gather together, Israelites who don't want to sit there and gather together and then come up with a quote excuse for it, the Most High has something in regards with that. Let's go, if we will, to the book of Isaiah. All right, so we can gain some understanding of what we're talking about. Isaiah chapter 13. So we can understand exactly what it is and then close out this particular case. All right. We are in the scriptures in Isaiah chapter 13. And it says this. Isaiah 13 verse 13. Therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place in the wrath of the Most High of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger. And it shall be as a chaste roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. They shall every man turn to his own people, and everyone flee into his own land. Everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. So the Most High has a sword that he spoke of regarding the house of Israel. When you don't want to join one to another, the Most High already has a plan for us as his sons and daughters. The Israelites that came up out of Egypt and did not understand or respect the plan of the Most High and said of themselves, we are as grasshoppers in our own sight. Shall we die in this wilderness? The Most High killed them. The Most High told Moses and Joshua to be strong and of good courage. So when things like this happen, it's time for the house of Israel to gird up and get their strength. Use your wisdom, because your wisdom is part of your strength. But never teach that Israelites should separate from one another if we believe that it says no weapon formed against you shall prosper. Shalom.